Welcome to the inaugural show of The Political Psychic, where we do tarot readings on current events and social issues. Today, we're going to be asking the cards whether Three-Eye Atlas is alien technology. But first, AI Atlas is a object from out of our solar system, an interstellar object that is traveling towards Earth at an exceptionally high rate of speed and is acting very strangely, so that certain astronomers have suggested that it may be alien technology. It's doing things like slowing up, speeding up, changing direction. It has what seems to be an impossible chemical signature. There's iron, there's nickel, but no iron. There's carbon dioxide, but very little water. It's changed colors from red to green as it closes in on our solar system. It's making course corrections. It has a trajectory that seems timed and planned and intelligently arranged so that it will be able to view many of the planets in our solar system, including us, in a way that we cannot closely examine it. We're turning our cameras on it. We're turning the satellites that we have on Mars on it to try and see what it is and what it looks like. It's AI3 because there's been 3 interstellar objects that have gone through our well, this is the third one, 2. But this one is breaking all the rules. The other ones broke rules too. Now, on the political cyclic, what we do readings on current events and social issues. So this is a test of the cards. We're doing it live so you can see that we're reading the cards. I have a procedure in which we do a meditation. I did some meditation earlier today when I was in a spiritual divination class. And we ask that only spirit that has our best interest at heart come through and provide us with the information. The theory on the cards is they're kind of like Schrodinger's cat. You don't know, it could be any card until it is observed. And it's kind of in a limbo state until that card is observed. So the theory is that spirit or something like spirit has the ability to select the cards, and or that we, because those cards are could be any card until they're observed, that we have a process in selecting which cards are going to appear. Now, you may say these cards could be read anyway. Not necessarily true. Cards have different meanings. But even more importantly, you may say, well, I can't predict the future. That's what we're here to find out. If it comes back true, then it's evidence to support that reading these cards, there's a connection to spirit, there's a connection to another world. We're getting information that we can't get otherwise. If it's not true, then we disprove it. So whether you believe it or whether you don't believe it, we're all going to wait and find out. So now it's possible, of course, I could have misread the cards. We'll have to analyze the situation afterwards. But the idea is that somehow we're able to get this information, whether it's through some quantum physics process or spirit selecting the cards, or our own connection to the universe selecting the cards in a quantum way. But it's going to be very interesting to find out how these cards actually going to tell us this information. I don't know how the cards are going to tell us this information. But like I said, we've already asked that only spirit that has our best interest at heart will come in and give us the information and reading. And the truth will give us the truth. Now, there's a certain problem, though, that with this question is that we may not know the truth even after we would observe it going through our solar system. We still may not know. So that may be revealed in the card. It's not helpful for us to have the cards tell us one way or another, but we can never confirm. So that's the problem. We may not be able to confirm whether AI Atlas is alien technology or not. Hopefully that becomes reflected in the reading. And how I go about the readings is I shuffle the cards, I cut them, and then I do a past, present, future reading. That's my readings. So, and then I will turn and do an intuitive reading. I look at the picture in the card and try to do a reading. And I'd like you to join me with that. See what you think the reading means. And then I will look to, usually I would go to Biddy Tarot if I feel that I need additional information. That also helps me to learn the traditional meanings of the cards and understand and make me a better reader. If I understand some of the traditional readings, I can log that in my memory banks. And when I see the card again, and so I can interpret it. And sometimes cards have certain meanings to us. But for right now, we want to ask the question of spirit whether AI Atlas is alien technology. Now, I've already meditated. Like I said, first thing I'm going to do is shuffle these cards. You can see me do it here. And that's not such a big deal, but you want to know, people want to know that this is real, that I'm not picking the cards out purposely. Of course, in this case, picking out the cards purposely wouldn't matter really, because it's either going to be right or wrong. I'm either predicting the future or I'm not. And so if I predict the future by picking the cards, well, I'm not going to do that because I don't even know if the cards are going to be able to communicate this to us and how they're going to do it. Because the cards seem to be designed, they're archetypes, and they seem to be designed for human type of activities. So here's my last shuffle, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and cut the cards right here. Okay. And then we're going to do the reading. We're going to do past, present, future. Huh. Huh. So can you see these cards? So the first card is the moon card. The moon card. Now, I thought maybe the sun would show up or the stars would show up, but it's the moon card. So this is the background, but it's reversed. It's reversed. So if we look at the picture here, we have two dogs howling at the moon. We have a lobster coming out of the water. We have some rocks. We have a path that goes up to the hill. And we have this, it looks like this is the moon. This is the moon shining down and looking at us. And sometimes it takes me a while to think about what this card might actually mean in its past position and reversed. I do read reversals. It's not necessarily that you have to read reversals. Sometimes you look at the reversal and think, well, that's not right, and turn it the other way around, or it depends on how spirit is communicating with you. They know I usually read reversals. So, but this has something to do with the night sky. That's for sure. The bass is looking up at the night sky, and the hounds are looking up at the night, and they're barking. There's something in the night sky. There's something in the night sky. It's reversed. So it's reversed, which means that there's something strange in the night sky, something unusual in the night sky. Um, so that seems like a good reading for that. And then, which is very, very interesting, is we have the magician card reversed, the magician card reversed. So that's the present. The present is the so what the magician is someone who's developed the skills and abilities to do magic, to do divination, to cast spells, or to do, or even it could just be a person who, this is an archetype of a person who's developed skills, as opposed to the fool, which is the first card, which is someone who is just born into the world and doesn't know which, what his head, up from down and so forth, that they don't have the information. But we all start off as a fool. And then this card represents the development of skills. But it may mean, and one will look at Biddy Tarot on all these cards. First, I'm going to do the intuitive. It may be that we don't really have the skills at present to make, to determine what it actually is. And it may take, that seems to be, reverse means we don't have the skills, right? We don't have the skills to determine what it actually is. We don't have the ability to do that at present. So now the future, which is another interesting card, is not really giving us an answer because it's saying deception. Usually when we look at this card, this is the Seven of Swords. It usually signifies some sort of deception in the future. So who's deceiving who? Are we being deceived by the government? Will we not be told? Or are we being deceived by the aliens who don't want us to know that we're being observed? So, so we need to be careful about what this interpretation is going to be. And what this seems to be saying to me is that we're not going to know. And even we may not even be able to believe, though, what we're being told. And if we don't know, it may be that the aliens are hiding it from us and disguising it, even though this is an incredibly anomalous situation. The aliens may be um, hiding it from us so that we cannot know. But what I want to do now is I want to go to the Biddy Tarot, and I'm going to do that by sharing my screen here. So let's see. And I'm going to want to go to, and hopefully I can still work on this. Here I am on YouTube. Let's see what I can do. And look at Biddy Tarot. Biddy Tarot. Okay. And let's look up what this is a major arcana card. So this is a big issue. This is not a small issue. We have two major arcana cards. And of course, a interstellar visitor is a very rare occurrence. And that's another thing that makes people suspicious. How much we have three already, and we shouldn't have seen hardly any. So how do we get three? So let's see. Let's see. We'll find the cards. Retrain, learn, grow your biz, learn tarot card meanings. There we go. Okay. And here we have the major arcana, and this is the major arcana card. And then we go and we try and figure out which major arcana card. See, we said the magician here we can see is just after the fool, just a person beginning to develop skills. And then the moon here, release of fear, repressed emotion, inner confusion. So that's what that means. And I see these interpretations are given for human beings. But I think my initial reading, looking up at the sky, there's something strange in the sky. And then we look at the magician, go back up to the magician, manipulation, poor planning, untapped talents. See, I won't go with that reading. Then again, this is more traditional reading. It's not about current events, it's really about people. And this is about a extraterrestrial or interstellar object. Now, we want to go to the seven of cups, right? So let's see what we got here. So let's go to the seven of cups. The tarot card meanings. Okay. So here's the cups. Then we go to the seven of cups. But this is more of a traditional reading. The reading of deception is the traditional reading. Where is it? Seven of cups. No, this is seven of swords. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Seven of swords. Which really, swords are about discernment. Swords are about decisions, cutting edge decisions. Imposter syndrome, self-deceit, keeping secrets. So this reading is going to tell us that we're not going to know or that we're going to be deceived. And so how can we really test the reading? You know, I want to do this again. We ask a different question because it's letting us know that we may not know. So that seems to be the reading, but I want to give it one more try. Maybe it really doesn't do us any good if we're not going to know. It really doesn't do us any good if we're not going to know what that object is, that we're going to be deceived. Information is going to be hidden from us. It's highly possible that they don't want us to know, either our government or the aliens themselves, or both. Oops, I just had a card flip out of the deck. When that happens, it means that we should take a look at that card. So this is, it flipped out right side up, and it's the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups. So you can see that one. Make sure you can see the whole thing there. The Queen of Cups. So when we look at the Queen of Cups, we can see that she's holding up an object. You see, it's a chalice. It looks like a chalice, but it almost looks like it almost looks like an alien. It almost looks like an alien, doesn't it? Looks like a machine. If you look closely at what she's holding, what is that? What is that? It's probably, it's not, it looks like a machine. It looks like a machine. And it's the Queen of Cups, which means it's not, it could be a woman, It's definitely a power, a person in power, but it's not the king. So we can assume it's not Donald Trump, but it is a symbol of leadership. And it looks like she's holding some type of contraption that could even be an alien. Let me show it to you. If we can get it in the picture good enough, you can see that she's holding on to something there. She's holding on to, and it looks like an alien. It looks like a machine. It looks like a satellite. So is this the cards telling us that that's what it is, alien technology, even if we will not know whether it is or is not? Well, it makes me think if there's another question we can have that might have add some clarity to the situation here. Um, and maybe what we can do is ask the reverse question. Is a three-eye atlas a natural phenomenon? Is it something natural or no? And there are yes and no answers to these questions, but I'm willing, I don't know if we did. That's just one card. Sometimes a yes or no is just one card, and it's just basically based on whether the card's right side up or upside down. These cards are very slippery, so I'm not going to. Oh, now they're getting all mixed up here. So, well, in any case, let's see what we can do here. See, okay, so it almost looks like there's a couple that are backwards. Okay, all right. So, is it a comet? Is it an asteroid? Those are basically the two. Is it some type of rock? It seems, or comet, or as some people say, a piece of a planet that has broken off and is cast into an orbit. And one interesting thing about AI Atlas and many of the other two, there has been some speculation that it may represent a sail, a solar sail, and that's what a solar sail may look like. It's passing through so fast. I don't think we can even get a clear picture of it. And what's it going to look like when we look at the picture? Is it going to be blurry or unclear? If it's a sail, what's it going to be hiding? But let's ask the questions. Is it a natural object rather than is it? And so I just did the cards: past, present, future. So for the past, we have the Six of Cups, which seems to be childish. Maybe the background is just innocence, right? We're innocently go about, we think that this thing is just a rock tumbling through interstellar space or a comet tumbling through interstellar space. We've never been in contact with alien life before. Um, but this could be an indicator, but this is in the past position. So that's how I would interpret it. Now, we can go and look up the Six of Cups, but I think, and then we have the Strength card reversed, another major arcana card. but it's reversed. So usually when something's reversed, you just say weakness. Currently, we're weak, right? We're weak. So I don't know what that is supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean that we just don't have the abilities to make that determination. We just don't have the strength, the wherewithal, the ability to determine this. And then we've got the Three of Swords, the Three of Swords, which seems to indicate Four of Swords. Actually, this is the Four of Swords. You see, we have three up and one laying across down there on the bottom. You can see that laying across on the bottom. And then we have a tomb. That one, I don't know how to read. I don't know. Is it saying there's a 75% chance it is, 25% chance it's not? Or is it the reverse, right? Because it was reversed, right? It was upside down, or was it right side up? And well, I got to remember that. I think it must have been right side up. I would have remembered it. But maybe we won't find out until we're gone. But I'm going to look this up again. Here we have the Four of Swords. Let's look at the Four of Swords. Rest, relaxation, meditation, contemplation, recuperation. Reversed exhaustion, burnout, deep contemplation, stagnation. So really, if we were to read this, we would say that we'll have to contemplate this. We're not going to know, maybe not in our lifetime, will we know? And so that's the prediction. We're not going to know. We're not going to know. But the hint is that it is alien technology. The hint is that it may be, and that, but there are people who may not want us to know that. And I've really seen, and I really question it. It's so scary. This is scary. Yeah, this may be an alien technology. Why is that scary? Why is that scary? Oh, we don't know what their intentions are. It's true, but it's unlikely they're here to blow us up. They're not taking over the country. At they've sent a probe. It doesn't look like they sent a missile. It's not coming directly towards us. It's actually flying on the other side of the sun. It could be a terraforming tool because it's sort of changed directions, now heading, possibly heading very, very close to Mars. But that may also be a sign of intelligence that it wants to get a good close look at Mars. So, so let's see what happens. If it turns out that, oh my God, this is alien technology, then I can't see how the cards could be interpreted as right. They're interpreting that we're not going to know, and that we may even be deceived. That somebody may know, but it won't be us. And then if it goes through and we're able to determine that it's a natural object, a rock, a comet, some type of strange comet, then the reading would be untrue as well because it's giving us a unclear answer and is really telling us that we're not going to know. That's what it seems to me. Now, I could be wrong. What's your interpretation? If I dream something and realize, oh, that's what that card means, then I will go ahead and do an update to this. But at present, it looks like it may be a alien technology, but whatever it is, we're not going to know. And if somebody does know, it's not going to be the king, but it may be somebody under the king who may actually be more powerful. than the king, like the queen. Well, thank you for joining us on this inaugural live reading. Now, I've sent this to my another YouTube page because I haven't got the political psychic page set up to do live streaming, and I may not have enough on there, but I'm going to transfer this over to the political psychic page as soon as I can. In fact, very soon, because this asteroid is coming, or this comet, or this alien probe or spacecraft is coming soon. It's going to be speeding through our solar system very, very soon. It may be, I don't know if it's already in our solar system, but it's going to be later this month, my understanding. During this month, it's going to be speeding through. And then the sun is going to change it's going to use the sun to change course and slingshot. I mean, these are things we see in Star Trek, right? But our scientists do it. They use gravity and different planets to swing to get to different uh, planets. So why wouldn't an alien probe do the same thing? And so let's see, we'll test it, but I'm sorry that it didn't give us the clear answer that we would know what this is. At present, we may not have the technology to figure it out. Maybe later, after we're gone, someone will figure it out, but we won't know right away. And that seems actually like the most possible. It seems like a cop-out, and I would prefer to have an answer that is clear and straightforward, but that's not forthcoming in this reading. On the next reading we do, hopefully we'll deal with a political issue or something that's going to come up. I mean, you know, the stock market is always an issue that you can use the cards to read, but we'll see what the next one is. I usually like to pick events, and this seemed like a very, very interesting one to me. So that, and if it turned out that it was alien and the cards predicted that it was alien, that would be fantastic. But it doesn't look like the cards are predicting that. And even if it is alien, we probably won't be able to determine that. So keep in touch, subscribe, like, share this video if you find it interesting. And because it's really going to help us. This is a new channel. We're just starting out. So I'd like to get as many people as possible to subscribe. We'll be coming out with new shows addressing other current issues. I have some that I've done already on my personal page, Richard Procida, and you can look at them there if you like. But this is going to be our first show of the political psychic on YouTube. I do have another one that I did, but I did that long before that was put live on Facebook, and Facebook is taking those things down. So I downloaded it and put it on this channel as an example of what type of readings I do. So thank you for watching this. Let's see what AI Atlas is. Put in the chat, put in the message what you think it is. If you read the cards differently, what do you think the cards are saying? And do you think we're going to be deceived and that we're not going to know? Seems like the most probable answer, and I'm not surprised that that's what the cards gave us. Thank you for coming. See you next time. Bye.